Yes, for proof positive, we will now rush in and yeah, I didn't even get any customization points for all of that. All right, the Vessel of God, which is ironic because the Vessel of God in this case is a devil, but whatever.
But whatever.
All right,
You're in the Spirit World dungeon now. Yep, fair enough. Yeah, I think it's the first time we've seen her doing it.
Actually, yeah, it is the first time.
I didn't realize she could do it. I thought it had been. We mentioned earlier in the stream. I thought it'd be Ariel all the way through because she's a scientist. Apparently not. All of Lorax's voting for Angel Waifu have started to pay off.
Yeah, Lorax has actually managed to do something that I have not seen before. Because last time, I guess I had just gotten enough.
Yeah, I assume if you keep it balanced, it'll probably default to Ariel since she's the scientist.
And those things are jerks. They steal your items.
So you just have to kill them and get them back. So I guess.
But they will run from you.
Ah, okay.
So, for example, in that situation, if it had been that one first, he would have stolen the item and run away. And if I had chased after him, the other one would have gotten free shots on me.
Right. Yeah, I assume that also there would be a hassle when, one, if you're outnumbered and one of those guys is there to make you focus on them first, but also if you're just wanting to run past a level, they can hit you as you go by, and then you have to stop and fight them.
Right.
Hello, you haven't seen before. Did you just recently receive eyes from Santa Shin?
Yeah, the hair's down over my eyes. I haven't actually seen anything from birth. But no, I actually mean that when I was running through the game earlier, the navigator for that one was actually Devil Girl. Even when I had gone with the angel side, pretty sure because I had balanced it out a little.
Going to lead an attack against the angels.
Bear says you like how they spend hours explaining angel mumbo jumbo. It turns out you're just playing the dungeon part of Reciteer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except I would rather you playing the dungeon part of Reciteer.
Yeah,
because at least they had different backgrounds and you had different characters you could play as.
Yeah, you weren't stuck in squares.
That too, right?
Ooh, pretty accessory. Let me wear it.
Are we going to talk about its girly embroidery or something?
It's pretty.
We check your stats to see what's different now or than before. Probably not.
These don't actually change stats; they give you immunities.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
So I don't know what that would make me immune to, so I'll just save it for later.
It would be pleasantly surprised or disappointed, depending on what happens. Yeah. It seems like they've probably got about 5 HP, maybe. The Satsui no Hado.
And yeah, speaking of that, I remember, like Kailu spells are much more entertaining than the Hadokens that I get to throw. So.
People, on the other hand, always associates this kind of gameplay with Azure Dreams. I'm sure there's a real name for it, though.
Azure Dreams?
Yeah, that was a PlayStation 1 title, right? Yeah, I've heard of it, but never played it. I'm not sure what the pioneer of this kind of thing would be. The fact that you're on a grid, running around fighting enemies, I kind of say generically NES-y, but I'm not sure. Yeah, what the folk namer would be. Needle Jag Gem. Swallow it down, that jagged little gem. Huge enemy. Oh, it's a huge enemies to.
Huge damage.
Huge damage to needle enemies setting in a weapon. Aha. You'll have to, I guess, combine that in the other mode.
Yeah, basically when you well, but yeah, when you get back to town, you can set your skill crystals.
Yeah, P-Buck confirms PS1. Yeah, I've seen it at like Slackers and like in other places back in the day. Well, I say back in the day, the Slackers were just a couple weeks ago. I saw a copy there, but yeah, I've never actually played it. There's a lot of games we missed out on because we didn't get a PS1 until pretty late in its life cycle, and we were, combination of poor and going off, gaming magazines and reviews and stuff. A lot of things we just didn't mess with.
Right.
We had pretty much the entire Square, well, not to say the Square library, but the Final Fantasy, Chrono Cross, all that stuff. But other than that, you know.
At that end, we didn't really have a whole lot of games or a whole lot of ready cash to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, you know, just being poor on top of that. So are the needle enemies the ones that roll around and don't take much? Or?
Actually, I think they're those enemies there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It did make you mean to confuse. The confusion, as you might guess, for just randomly, what is it? Just makes your controls move different directions. Oh, poison and confuse.
Right now, I'm just trying to get out of here until my confusion wears off.
Ah, right.
Because yeah, it had worn off.
Mm-hmm.
There we
go. Hit you again, right? So the stars are...
That's confusion.
That's confusion, okay. Jeez. That's probably the most obnoxious you've had a fight so far. Yeah, I believe each tile or action will get you a SP back while you're in human form.
But we survived, so as God, we get to regen.
Yep. It's good to be God. Wait, what?
It's just being one of those dungeons.
Mm-hmm. I guess, yeah, poison could be particularly nasty when you're needing to regen in a hurry, and you aren't able to because of poison. I could definitely see poison like getting a kill if you don't cure it in time. If you trip it while you're leaving a fight, and it would tick you down more than you've got HP left.
Right.
Of course, poisoning God is kind of vacuum.
Which actually is pretty clever.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about the back part though.
Baku was reversed.
Oh, like a so like a tappers that they're based on, I think.
Well, no, the Bakugami is actually based kind of on elephants.
Ah,
That's
okay. Well, you know, must have been in maybe D&D when we used the term kind of associated with them with other things.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, people points out the problem with this one. It's like, hey, in a JRPG, it's probably not good to be God, so someone's going to kill you sooner or later. Yep, some spunky protagonist is going to show up blaming you for all of his problems and try to kill you.
To be fair, this isn't Shin Megami Tensei, so I'm fairly sure I'll be okay. Alright. We have a eccentric pill.
I don't recognize that pill. Oh, 5AC.
That's all kind of good.
Yeah. Two angels together. Cue them. So yeah, good call there to kind of get them to get in formation. Yeah, you and enemies can attack on the diagonal.
Yes.
You gotta keep your wits about you and that.
And as best as possible, not get double teamed.
Okay.
If there are only 7 floors, so we're already almost done.
Mm-hmm.
When I grow up, I
The
want
bear
to be
also
a
points
strong
out that hey, in
warrior,
those
just like
cases,
you,
God is a
Father.
bearded dude or a white-haired man. So the guy doesn't fit the identity. He says a chance of survival.
I see. Then make sure you train every day. If you do, you'll be even
Devil is a
stronger than
family
me.
man.
Yep.
With devil wife and devil child.
That's impossible.
Yep. Gael told him to go home and be a family man, and he did it. And then he went back and killed everybody. So you know.
If you want to be a real devil, then
I heard
surpass your
recently
father.
about this
If you do,
kind of really out there. I think a
Number one
French
in the
series called
entire
Meta
world.
Barons, where they're using like incredibly high power setting. It is in order to succeed and be the next one, you have to kill your parent. And apparently, it was a kind of a popular series and comic book, you know, back in the day.
Huh.
So the day is I think we're 80s. We're talking about here.
I remember there was, I want to say in the Tokyo Babylon series, one of the main villains, his family kind of worked the same way. Of course, there are a bunch of evil assassins, so of course it works that way.
Right. Now you're getting chased down. I guess enemies that have kind of aggroed you with double speed.
Actually, there are just some that wander, and they do move at their normal speed.
Oh. I guess it just looked faster because you were walking around too.
Right. Yeah, Vacuderm.
Nice. That one I got. Pachyderm for Vacuderm.
Vacuum was kind of the same idea.
Right.
This thing, they have some clever ideas in here.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if there were puns originally too, or if that's just something that the American group did to kind of spice up the names a bit.
Oh no, the Japanese love their
the wordplay.
Yeah, their wordplay stuff. So of course they're going to have something like that.
Right.
And not that I can prove it for certainty. But...
Conducto.
He probably should have controlled me a little bit better.
So what does what does control actually do?
It actually it allows him to control where you go to a limited extent. It's kind of like Confuse, only
there was a pill back there.
Oh.
I don't know. It's kind of popped up on the on the map there. Yeah, I assume when you
basically it forces you to move and or attack as he wants.
Gotcha. Yeah, I assume as the game gets harder, you'll need to rely on
zoom more.
Exactly, more often. Yeah, so far, it seemed kind of they're better for fodder to sell than anything else. I assume that you'll probably end up getting an upgrade to lower the SP cost on the range attack eventually. It seems pretty, there's a higher one so far. Does it force you to attack that direction?
It forces you to attack a random direction.
De-deitize.
Yeah, basically the difference that paralysis, you can control whether you move or attack, whereas with control, it only lasts for one turn, but you must attack or move.
Right. I get you.
Hit or two.
There's a stone axe, yeah.
It is also +3, so we'll go ahead and equip it.
Not bad. Yeah, we'll see if it's kind of, if I was right about that earlier, if it was more... Okay. Say a myth confirmed.
Alright.
Yeah, if it's a... See, the thing with the random damage weapons that go with... Yeah, Laura says, can we re-de-deitize? Well, I assume that's what happens when we transform to human to get our SP and then transform back.
I'm not sure if you can, though. I think that's one too many steps.
We can go deeper. But yeah, it's like a lot of games that will have weapons represent their effects by having a wider range of randomness. I'm usually kind of dubious about. Like when we were talking about Final Fantasy Tactics earlier, like the hammers and axes in that game tend to have this, like a couple different numbers that they can all roll with a roughly equal chance of doing each one. And then likewise and I wonder if that's that's where I first saw it anyway. But the masher in Mario RPG actually was like that. And it's like you having played Darkest Dungeon and how the occultist's healing ability is really good, despite working that way. I think that's the way you'd have to do it, because in their case, it's like the range they can heal. Yeah, the range starts at 0, which is bad, but the range of variance is huge, and that means the average is still a very, very strong heal.
Right.
And I think that's probably how you'd have to handle it for things like this one, in order to make up for the fact sometimes you will roll really badly in the clutch and suffer. It needs to be better at other times to make up for it.
Right.
And it does seem like the axe is pretty strong for its rating.
That's the thing. If you're doing random numbers, if you want it to be competitive, the minimum can be pretty bad. But the maximum has to be that much higher with more variability to make up for it.
Right.
Because otherwise, you just get the situation where nobody takes it because it's always a horrible idea.
Right.
And the risk reward just isn't worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
3D digitize. Keep saying digitize, and I don't mean to.
Yeah, it does.
It's like it's Digital Devil Saga, except not.
I'm just thinking Digimon. Digivolve into devil form. Angels, Digivolve. Our childhood. Does anybody else miss Digimon? You know, the bleached bones on the side of the canyon of kids' monster shows. I think pretty much only Pokemon made it out.
I think
Commander,
so. Well, no,
is everything gonna be okay?
I think there's new
Tour of duty should have already been up by now.
Or there was.
It's the same as always. Once
Really
we annihilate
digitize
those
Digimon,
angels,
read,
we'll be able to
digitize.
return.
I approve.
By the way, I heard you're gonna have a second child soon.
It was already born, according to the letters my wife sent. Apparently,
No,
my
Devil's
second
being
kid is a
monogamous.
girl.
That's what surprises me.
To be
girl.
fair, he didn't specify
I see.
that was his soul wife.
Sure she'll want to meet you soon.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just one of the weird ones. Like, hey, he's only got one wife. What's wrong with him?
Now, it seems pretty obvious to me that the inevitable, you know, ending of, or not ending, but the idea behind this is that something happened in the past to set angels and devils at such great odds that they completely hate each other now, and that's why, you know, neither one is really good or bad. It's just the way that things are set up. But and if that is what they're going for, by making devils the aggressor, really muddies the water quite a bit. You know, it's like, yeah, angels did start it. You know, that's, you know, all well and good, or well and evil as the case may be. But yeah, they are also not running around and summarily killing people who think that the devils could be using as soldiers. At least not that we know of.
Yeah, that's kind of the situation that I find myself in too. That's always a risk when you try to have any kind of moral equivalence in a game that has, well, demons in it.
Right.
Like, you have to do something in there, and saying that, you know, the angels are big meanie faces doesn't really work.
Right. It kind of reminds me of a lot of the discussions that people have had in the D&D as, you know, as the games, the editions have progressed, and the quote unquote monstrous races have become playable. It's like, yeah, once you start talking about, you know, goblin cities and goblin parents and goblin kids and everything, you can't really justify, you know, going to their warrens and exterminating them for XP and gold, you know, anymore. And unless you do something to justify it, like, say, making a bunch of them show up and kill everybody in a town, it's like, okay, now you have to deal with it.
Right.
And yeah, that's kind of the escalation these stories inevitably get to. And yeah, it really hurts assuming the underlying message is that, you know.
I think it may not be, for all we know.
Yeah. Tactical retreat. Alright, cowardly lion. This is definitely a case of discretion and valor and all that.
There we go.
I guess you just straight up eat it, yeah.
Yeah, basically I'm full up on items.
Ah, okay. I don't recognize that one.
Okay, I don't think I need quite so many of those.
Right. Oh, hit pill. Or hit the pills.
Which could actually be useful in this situation. And that's a weapon that I threw earlier.
Yeah, you toss that one. The minimap is pretty good about telling you where the drops are.
Actually, yeah, I might as well go ahead and show that off while I'm thinking about it. Let's hit him with, with the other one, please.
Okay. Alright, beetle. Ah, so yeah, paralyzed eventually. Oh, and you got it back.
That's neat.
Huh.
Yeah, paralyze it. Arg. Could be worse, I guess. Yeah, paralysis means that every now and again they have a chance to just not attack.
Ah.
Which is pretty neat.
Okay. Interestingly, the Drupiel, I've mentioned this before and just got sidetracked every time.
And that's it.
That a Drupiel actually refers to him as a Sir Shin in the boxes, whereas Ariel quite clearly does not.
Like Lorax's. Wife sent me a letter about Shaw being born. Well, you didn't realize how you'd been deployed for over a year.
Good work,
Yeah.
Sir.
Also, everybody, be prepared for moral choice coming up.
Yes.
Am I done
Which I
already?
will explain as soon as the first hint starts coming
Despite being the demon commander, he doesn't have any important information. I guess we can score this one a miss.
Yep, didn't trust him with any useful info.
I am deeply offended.
He's a devil too. I mean, regardless of the families or not, they are pretty callous. And yeah, I hadn't thought too much about it either until Bear mentioned it. But yeah, it really feels like they probably should have centered
Now
the
then, Sir
fonts
Shin,
in their
please
rows instead of
execute this
having
devil.
having to raise the ones that dangle so that they all fit.
Almost looks like the Albanian double-headed eagle on his hat.
Hmm.
Also
What are
looks
you
like
waiting
fish
for?
for buttons.
Is your vocabulary
Yeah,
so
yeah,
lacking
yeah,
that
definitely
you
looks like
don't
fish
even
to
know the
me.
meaning of the word
And I think they're
execute?
supposed to be clasps, but yeah, that's not what it looks like.
Execute.
Yes, the
Don't
moral
tell me.
decision, as you might
I have to-
get,
This
is
person?
do we execute the devil commander or do we let him
Celestia is
live?
not tolerant enough to take care of a prisoner who does not have any important information.
Oh, yep. Celestia is very intolerant.
Celestia, my sister yearns for a strong god who can carry out heaven's judgment on the devils.
Smite.
Now then, Sir Shin, please deliver your holy condemnation upon this devil.
Holy combination and also a sword, while you're at it.
Wait!
A holy
You don't have to go
condemnation
so
is
far
a
as to
pretty
kill
powerful
him.
spell. You don't need to stab somebody once you use it.
Mmm.
Are you perhaps feeling sympathy towards this devil
Ah, sympathy for the
prisoner because
devil.
peeked
You got
into
good
his
taste in music,
spirit
Ariel.
world?
No, both girls want you to kill him. Peer pressure.
That
I
is
never
true.
thought God would
It's
ever
one of
feel
those rare
sympathy
times
for
they agree on
devils.
something.
That's quite hilarious.
That's quite hilarious.
Don't laugh! This guy has a family.
Sir Shin, I am
Yeah,
well
I
aware that
like
you're
the
asking me to
tone
perform a
of
painful
yeah,
deed for
take
someone
your
who is
empathy and
originally
shove it
unmorally
because
human.
it's like all the dead angels had families too.
However, have you already forgotten how many angels fell victim to him before you were able to defeat this devil? 14. Of those 14, 9 of them had spouses
And he racked up one heck of an
children
orphan
waiting
score.
for them to
Seriously.
return. The other 5 had parents waiting for them. To be unable to kill devils because they have families is not a valid reason. Would you feel the same if
She
someone
is
in your
she is
family
speaking
was
a lot of
killed?
sense here.
But unless someone stops the fighting, this violence will only
There's
be
been a lot
repeated.
of I know Ben has been
This
following
is
blogs
war.
and stuff like that talking
Even if
about
we stopped
pacifism in the
only
real
fate
world
that
and
awaits
dealing
us
with
is a massacre.
your
Are you
remorseless
saying we should die
opposition
without
like
complaint?
ISIS in the Middle East and stuff like that. And obviously
I'm
this is
not
not
saying
this is not as
What I'm trying to say
quite
is that
as
we should find some other way
quite
to
as
solve
fraught as that discussion, but it is kind of what that
There
reminds me
are
of.
none.
Of course, I always got really frustrated with that because it led to the phenomenon that I termed moral outsourcing.
Right.
A lot of the pacifists actually, in order to make their position viable, basically made the argument that there will always be enough people willing to fight that you don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
What you need are people that are willing to, do hard negotiation, try to find peace and things like that.
Right.
And yeah, basically the argument does boil down, if you follow it long enough, is that it's okay as long as other people are doing the killing.
Right.
And yeah, in this situation, I kind of find myself kind of with the same situation. It's like, yeah, if you, if you let someone like this live, and it's already been established that, he, like, even in the memories he was talking about, as soon as the angels are dead, we can go home.
Right.
It's like, yeah, he remembers the family, he doesn't seem to remember that last part.
Mhm.
So, making this your test of moral equivalence, it's just, it actually seems to function more as a bit of an idiot test.
Right. Right. Should we throw a god one on the field? And it's like, yeah. It's like Nazis have families too. But you still got to shoot them if you're gonna save the day. I mean,
despite his hat, he is not a Nazi. But that said, Lorax is voted for the peer pressure.
Yeah, but does anybody else want to weigh in on the scales of?
Yeah, do you want to put your thumb on the scale and let him go, or do we deliver our righteous condemnation? Holy condemnation, my mistake. Yep. Righteous condemnation is a completely different spell. Meanwhile, I will 3D digitize Digimon, deitize. Then I'll pick a peck of pickled peppers and... And to be fair, you know, treating this again as more of a visual novel than as an actual game, it makes sense to have a immature character that suddenly realizes this guy's a family, when before he had basically tried to completely dehumanize them.
Right.
That would suddenly overcorrect the other side, because you do see... This ain't Frozen. Deliver the final blow. All right. To the devil, we say in terms of his life, let it go, let it go.
Unfortunately, the game says.
After all, I am a god who was created to kill devils. If you want me to do it, then I'll do it.
Speaking of it as a visual novel, it kind of makes sense to have a character overcorrect and have that
God.
actually in the story. The problem is that when they are making it your decision, well, suddenly it's kind of silly.
Right. Is it even resisting? Granted, the fact that he apparently is skilled enough to, just start slashing through people is, it's not a threat you want to take lightly.
Right.
Would probably be fairly easy. Man, what is your power level, Shin?
Well, he's a level 4 cook, it looks like.
That's pretty good for Icy Gaze. Yeah, I kind of like that. She's got, Jupiel as a stern one, but she has the neutral one.
Right.
Oh boy, I want to see how this murder shakes out, or execution shakes out.
Can you do it with your bare hands? I want to see if you have enough strength to just, snap his head like a pop ball. I am Celestia's god. Killing devils is my job. It's a job and a hobby.
Exist only to kill. Now we're getting into the, verbal, or not verbal, but I guess literary, what would be the term for it, I guess? Yeah, literary babble, where it's like it's just seriously, okay, that's 4, and I think 5 here, but text boxes just over and over again reinforcing the guys having second thoughts. Yeah.
It's no use.
It was pretty much completely unnecessary.
Right.
Maybe 1.
I would say probably 2 to
Shin,
emphasize the
please
fact
get
that
a
he's
hold of
trying
yourself.
to, build himself up.
All you have to do
Right.
is swing your fist down. You can do it.
Maybe give the guy a knife instead of wanting him to kill him with his bare hands.
can't.
You got to ease
It's
somebody into this
impossible.
kind of thing. I mean,
I can't
maybe
kill
give him a
someone who isn't
gun.
resisting.
yeah.
Put the blindfold on him or
Right.
something.
I have to do something.
It's like,
this.
give him
You
something.
want him dead? Do it yourself.
I believe I have explained to you many times that defeating devils is your job as God.
Whereas this does kind of feed into that really.
We expect a strong
talk
God
about fraught
who can
discussions
mercilessly
on,
drop the hammer on
there can
devils.
be people.
Drop the hammer on devils.
Right, but there can be
Tell me
people
what you guys
that
want.
are opposed
Don't
to
involve me in
the
that.
death penalty.
Please.
That are against
Just leave me alone.
against executing prisoners or people like that.
Hey,
That are still okay with
He's
killing people
crying.
more time. If somebody is posing an active
It
threat
appears Shin
that requires a
Kamikaze has
different
problem
amount
with
of
his
force
basic
response
performance.
than somebody who no longer
His
is,
mental fortitude
and whether or
is
not they
far too
would
weak.
be willing or able to kill somebody else
So
later.
Shin,
then of course you have the added wrinkle of, yeah, in a first world society, you can justify life in prison without parole. Whereas in this one, it's like, yeah, they don't have the resources for it.
Lark's going to start calling his fists the hammer.
You're gonna do that, Jupil?
If you've ever heard Dr. Horrible sing along vlog, you raise your fist.
Sir Shin,
That is not the
I pray
hammer.
that you at least watch what I am about to do without looking away. I see.
That said, I do respect
actually
Jupil a
force
little
a
bit
girl to
more,
sully her
with something like
hands
this.
instead of doing it
It's like,
yourself.
despite the fact that it's
You're
an
pretty
order,
good,
despite the
Shin
fact this is
Kamikaze.
basically Shin wimping out on somebody who,
Don't tease
and basically
me.
saying, I'm not going
didn't
to
intend
avenge
for this to
19
happen.
dead angels because I feel bad.
Right.
And yet she's still willing to meet him a bit over halfway, I would dare say.
Now, last time you saw it, Ariel was the one that actually was going to kill
On
him.
the devil path, yes.
Mhm.
So I think there is something to the idea of whichever one you're more aligned with is the one who does the stuff for you, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. But now that we have made our first devil choice and broken from tradition, we'll start evening things back out.
Potentially.
Must have untied himself. They couldn't at least put him in cuffs or something? I mean, come on. Well, if you didn't see that coming.
Meliel? You mean that girl from earlier?
Jeez, the fact that I've allowed a
Oh
prisoner
my
to
gosh,
escape.
that's gonna be on my record.
What's Mariel gonna have to say about this? Now is not
Of course,
the
it's not
time
like they
to
could
worry
put her
about
back in
such
jail.
things.
She's already
We
there
must
as
chase
a
after him.
prisoner.
They could take away her ramen.
That's true. They can take over. Yeah.
You have lost boiled water privilege.
Yeah, you saying it's a boiled order?
Stop following
If
me!
Noah's just died because
Kill
Santa's a
this
wuss,
girl.
Lark's gonna be upset.
God! Please save me!
But I was referring to Shin as Santa. There is reminding me of the Santa Christ thing the Salter Critic did back when I watched him. He is Jesus and Santa.
See, I still,
She has
next
nothing to
Christmas,
do
I
with
think
this.
I'm going to, start going back to actual Saint Nicholas, because I would love to,
As
have
long
the
as
sort
I
of true
have a
meaning of
hostage,
Christmas
a
being punching
naive
heretics
boy
in the
like
nose.
you
I mean,
won't be able to do
that's a
anything
saint I
to
can get
stop me.
behind.
Right?
Yeah, I know. I've I've asked Santa for a traditional like a Saint Nicholas action figure with the kung fu heretic punching grip.
This is bad, Jupi. The door behind him leads to the exit. I am aware of that. However, I cannot put my comrade's life at risk. Release Meliel. If you do, I shall let you go.
There's no way I'll fall for that! I know what you followers of Sora
There's
Umi
an
are like!
interesting name to drop.
Gonna kill me once I
what
release
I mean.
my hostage!
Yeah, that's
right?
Mariel's last name, right?
Yes, and Jupil.
And Jupil's obviously right.
I beg you! Please save me!
I think that was the tip-off that made me think she was up to no good. The fact that she seems to be involved in in something that's riled the devils up. What God?
Fine! I'm already at the exit. As you wished. I'll let her go!
And this one really bothered me here. Not because of well, thing he killed the prisoner anyway, because that's like trite evil villain 101 stuff.
Right.
The fact that because they didn't bother giving the guy a name or portrait or anything, it is a complete waste.
Right.
Because
Yeah, unless they give him a name later, which I doubt, because he's a generic sprite.
Right.
So, or a generic portrait, whatever the word is.
I'll get you, Demon Commander! And yeah, it's just if you're going to do something like that, where the choice you make doesn't actually matter to further something down the line, you have to make it count. and this one is they pretty much doesn't do it purely for pathos.
Sir Shin,
if you make the
We
wrong
must carry
choice
Melly out to the
by
medical room.
wanting to, to give in to your anger, and then so they punish you anyway. It's just it's not handled well at all.
Yeah, use the magic medicine bag and fix her up.
We've been over this, right?
But yeah, if you take the other path, then it actually plays out pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah. Shin actually just lets him go, and as 2PL wants to kill him anyway, and then he runs away, grabs her, and the exact same thing. Yeah, so your choice basically doesn't matter beyond whose points you get with.
Regarding Meliel's condition, she was somehow spared from death. However, the damage to her brain from the loss of blood was far too severe. She will probably never regain
And this one kind of,
consciousness.
I guess kind of implies that angels are basically just immortal humans. Maybe a little bit stronger, maybe their stats are a little bit higher. I don't know what their template gives them, but it seems
there he goes talking about her eyes again.
Something like that.
But yeah, it seems like they need to eat and they eat, sleep, have blood and reproduce and everything the exact same as humans do.
Yeah, the big thing is that, as they'll mention in a little bit, angels basically have innate magic and quite a bit of it, whereas humans very obviously do not.
Right.
What's gonna happen to Melia? Is she gonna stay like this for the rest of her
Well,
life?
about that.
The will of Celestia has already decided. We must suspend life support and proceed.
We're just getting all
measures.
in the hot button issues. We've got death penalties and
What the heck does that mean?
Yeah, we've got death
Tell me.
penalties, we've got cruelty to prisoners, we've got the nature
It
of
seems
warfare.
like
Now we've got euthanasia.
right.
Within this harsh situation,
Actually, we have an even more
we cannot
hot
care for
button
those who are
issue.
no longer of use to us.
Recycling.
Ooh. Shape up or ship out.
But that's the thing that I actually
However,
really like,
Meliel's death
or I
will
would
not
really
go
like
to
if they
waste.
didn't spend
With her amount of magic,
3.5
she should be
hours to
able
get
fuel
here.
the
Yup.
engine core for the
But,
next
this
100
idea
days.
that, again, the main character makes stupid
What are you talking
decisions,
about?
he screws up,
Did you
bad
just
things
jump to
happen,
a
that makes him
completely
shape
different
up.
topic?
That's fair enough.
Right.
But yeah, kind of like Lorax said,
Securing energy
basically
is a matter
Santa
of
is a
life and
wuss and he
death.
lets somebody die.
The Celestia suffers from a chronic
Right.
energy shortage. My sister
Should
had
have
to make
boiled
a
that
harsh
devil.
choice.
Now you got a vegetable, Sir Shin. Oh. Ow.
What
Ooh.
does suspending Meliel's life support have
Well,
to do
it's
with
been a good day,
Celestia's
everybody.
energy?
Magic is what powers Celestia's engine core.
and
could
you know
say
what?
that the bodies of
And
angels
Nippon
are like
Ichi
blocks
knew
of
what you
magic.
wanted. After that, big what's
We
supposed
must
to be a
let the
poignant
engine core
scene
absorb
and a dungeon
Meliel's
everything.
body so that it can
Exposition.
extract her
Oh, yeah.
That's desecrating the dead. Is that really something angels would do?
Because I don't know about you, but after that,
Do you
maybe
believe
15
that we
minutes of
enjoy
dungeon
doing
crawling,
this?
I'm exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
I need another hour and a half of exposition before I'm ready to do that again.
That is how cornered we angels have become. We are facing extinction. We are in
Oh,
no
and this
position to
is
refuse
another kind of
any means
hot
that are
button issue, the whole
available
idea
to
of
us.
guerrilla warfare and total war.
Mhm.
Which, again, is really an interesting topic. I just wish they didn't spend so long to get there.
Right.
And again, the writer doesn't take advantage of the medium. And yeah, the whole thing with tears in her eyes, she is telling desperately about how bad it is and things like that. It's like, no, you've already said it. Things are so bad that when somebody dies, you recycle them.
Right.
That's all you need to know.
Mhm.
It's like, is there a funeral service? No, we can't afford it.
Right.
Is there a memorial? No, we can't afford it. Do we treat our body well? No, we throw it in the reactor and burn it.
Mhm.
That's how bad things are. That's all you need.
Right.
Instead, no, with tears in her eyes.
And
To be or not to. And it's so over. And this part,
where we have to have like half dozen text boxes talk about how he was so disturbed by what happened. He's vomiting about it.
right.
Okay. Well, we'll be back in a couple minutes. But no, it's There are a lot of things they could have done with to make this work, and they didn't. And a lot of times when you're wanting to go full grimdark and things like this, is you really have to watch the problem of tone. You have to make it consistent.
Right.
In this one, we go from It's like the happy things where we're training like all day, and fixing you a gigantic pile of food, or do you want noodles and all this stuff, and then we go to no, actually this is all wrong, and you should feel bad for enjoying this stuff because it's really bad.
Right. First Darkest Dungeon, now we can double entendre ultimatum. Vomit, vomit, vomit. Oh yeah, who do we want to try to pick up our mood? Jupiel or Ariel?
Yeah, we need a waifu to comfort us, so who is going to be?
I'm going to guess Lorax is going to go for Jupiel, but I will let that be actually confirmed or denied.
Jupiel was pretty much entirely in the right in that last one. Should have shanked the devil while you had the chance, and now more people are dead.
Yep. Poor Hair Fringe. She really didn't see it coming. Yeah, now I am imagining, between that scene and Abominations and Darkest Dungeon, it's all vomit all the time.
We didn't have the Abomination that time, though.
Well, I'm saying if we had.
Oh, yeah, if we did, yeah, right.
And we didn't go into the Warrens, or else the pigs could have vomited on us.
Yeah, we're going back to Jupiel is the roomie and didn't call us a coward, so...
Fair enough.
We're never going to forgive Ariel for the cowardly lion thing.
Sir Shin.
Even though she probably ended up being right, given what just happened.
Well, kind of. That's the thing. Both of them were kind of in the right. It's just that Shin. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It might not be a coincidence.
Might not be.
Who do you pray to?
Good timing.
With the new spiritualism, he prays to whoever might be out there.
Yes.
The cosmos.
As did I. I am terribly sorry about the harsh things that I said.
Yes, what harsh things did she actually say?
Right.
No, I think you're right. It's my fault for being weak.
Sir Shin, if you do not mind, would you please accept this?
I accept payment in +1 swords. Well.
You want payment in swords, we'll accept in pathos instead. This is actually getting dangerously close to Bathos territory.
Sir Shin, will you accept this for her?
Okay, yeah. That's right. If they're doing interior or inner monologue, they just won't have it voiced in these scenes.
God, please forgive us for involving you, even though you may have been living peacefully in the human world. You must be holding a grudge against us. For the sake of our own purposes, we have involved you in our war.
I think you probably have to say that one.
No. I've already quoted one hip-hop person. That's as far as I go for a straight.
That is in store for us. However, you are different. God, please.
God, you have to live.
You of all people must continue to live. Watching you fight the devils made me believe that you must be the one.
You just seem to be the only one who can bust out the super move.
Between angels and devils.
That's what they needed to put a demon commander away.
Because my body is so weak, I can only help with rear support. But I intend to help until the day of my final
Interesting.
judgment.
That's an interesting phrase there.
I am sure that you must
about God save the
God for involving you in our war.
Well, if God doesn't save himself, who else can he save?
But because of that,
For
I
God
want
to
to
bless
thank
himself.
you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much, God,
Welp.
for giving us hope.
All right, Meliel, I have to ask, where is your God now?
Lorax pointed out, didn't help very long, but you did help rear support.
The bottom of her heart. She's dead, guys.
Can you feel the pathos in the chat now that Meliel is dead?
Yeah, once again, it's like, yeah, they could have, they're at least trying now. It's like a bunch of Like when the generic extras from like from some anime, die. Nobody really cares.
Right.
Because you get somebody with a name, you get somebody with a unique voice and everything, and then kill them off. You're raising the stakes a little bit.
Right.
Except not, because the whole scene was done completely wrong.
Right.
And I understand what they're going for here, like to yank the rug out from under you. Too. Oh, and I just now noticed this one too. You see on the right and bottom of that the text box there. There's some nasty tearing.
So, what is your assessment? Will Shin Kamikaze be able to become our ultimate weapon for the Armageddon to come?
It'll find a war Armageddon to come.
Judging by power alone, he is above me. However, at this juncture, it appears that his mental state can sometimes be unstable.
It's a very diplomatic way of saying he choked and a girl died.
Right.
Nobody yearns for a god who is mentally weak. First of all, a weapon has no use for emotions.
Should have thought of that before you made the weapon human.
However, Sir Shin was originally a human who lived
Yeah,
in
if they're going for the
peace
fact that angels don't
It will
actually
take some
have
time for
emotions,
him to
one,
become
they're not
a
actually
soldier.
doing it, and two, I guess that would explain why
As his
they tend to have a very
personal angel,
even
I shall support him.
delivery.
So please,
I like
rest assured.
Lorex's quip. I don't want to see someone die ever again. I shall become the
You
new
must
no
not
eye
spoil
hero.
them, Jupiter. As the commander, I hereby give you an order. Make haste in Shin Kamikaze's instruction.
This is an order.
Even with the high rate of surprise attacks we are launching through stealth mode, we are barely keeping up a guerrilla war.
Oh, so they're fighting too. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've mentioned that
We must
basically
deliver a
they're
crushing
in constant
blow that
guerrilla
is
war
so
against the
strong
devils.
the devils will
basically
not be able
trying
to
to keep their
recover.
numbers down while
That
the
is
angels
why we
retreat
have
and
God.
live to fight another day.
Right.
Yes.
But again, it's just not
Understood.
quite working.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you caught it or not, but the big problem
No.
they have
I
is
shall
that the
give the
devils
orders for our
apparently,
next move.
either through numbers or
no longer
through
focus
their
on
own
defending.
nature,
This
have
time,
much more
we shall
powerful
strike the
magic that they
prisoner.
use in their attacks. So if it's a direct assault, the devils always win.
This should
Right.
be the perfect mission to assess God's true worth. I have high hopes for you, Jupiter.
It's kind of interesting
Yes,
is
sister.
normally the
I shall
idea
ensure
is
the
that
success
angels
of
tend to
our
have
next
more
mission,
magic.
no
The
matter what.
devils are, stronger physically.
Mhm.
Kind of going with a different thing. It's kind of neat.
Right.
Okay, folks.
So
Again, we're seeing the off ramp. We're almost done with this stream.
you think the save point is in a good spot?
Well, saying I usually have quit right here,
What's
so
with
I'm
all
going
the
to get to the
applause?
next town scene.
Okay.
This is a celebration.
Of course, watch me have made that
We're
promise,
happy to
a
celebrate.
little bit blindly, and we're here for the next hour.
I don't really feel like there's
Nope, I'm
anything
getting dinner
else.
soon.
You took the first step toward awakening. We
Hmm.
celebrate.
First step toward awakening?
Oh, so that's the twist. It's been a dream all along.
Congratulations.
Well, there may not be somebody running with toast in their mouth, but we do have a girl telling us congratulations. Is that the last episode of Evangelion enough for you? Would the slight difference be the different things she's saying every time? Feedback says, hey, how about the game needs less anime angels and more Bayonetta angels?
With what, 20 gigatons of force?
Yeah,
or
400
whatever.
gigatons of
Right,
force to kill them. Yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting way of doing it, where you have the angels be the monstrous things basically,
Right.
and then Bayonetta's a witch and not a demon,
Right.
but